Ever heard the saying, don't swim for an hour after eating or you'll get cramps? It's a classic line that's been passed down through generations like a treasured family heirloom. But have you ever stopped to question it? To peel back the layers of this proverbial onion and ask yourself why it's accepted as gospel truth? Is it just an old wives' tale, or is there some scientific fact behind it? Well, hold your breath, because we're about to dive into the truth with the Mythbuster Chronicles. So here's the myth. You need to wait an hour after eating before swimming to avoid cramps. This is a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the invention of the public swimming pool. It's one of those pieces of advice that seems to have been passed down from generation to generation, like a family heirloom, or that secret recipe for Grandma's famous apple pie. It's one of those myths that's so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness that we don't even question it. We just accept it as gospel truth. It's like the law of gravity or the fact that the earth revolves around the sun. It's just one of those things that we take for granted. But where did this myth come from? Well, it's hard to pin down its exact origins. It seems to have been around for as long as people have been swimming. And it's not just a Western thing either. This belief seems to be prevalent in many cultures around the world. This myth is so pervasive that it's even made its way into popular culture. It's been mentioned in TV shows, movies, and books. It's been the subject of countless jokes and memes, and it's even been used as a plot device in some stories. But is there any truth to it? Let's find out. First, let's understand the science behind digestion and swimming. When we eat, our body kicks into action, breaking down the food, extracting nutrients, and sending these goodies around to nourish our cells. This process, known as digestion, requires a significant amount of energy and blood flow, especially to the stomach and intestines, where most of the work happens. Now let's dive into the pool. Swimming is a whole-body exercise. It engages multiple muscle groups simultaneously and requires your heart to pump blood vigorously to these working muscles. This is where the plot thickens. When you're swimming, your body needs to prioritize. It's like a busy manager who must decide where to allocate resources. In this case, the resources are the blood supply. So the body diverts blood from less urgent tasks like digestion to more immediate needs, such as keeping your muscles oxygenated and functioning well. This is what gave rise to the old wives' tale that swimming after eating could cause cramps. The theory is that if blood is diverted away from the stomach during digestion to aid in swimming, the stomach might cramp up due to lack of blood flow. It's a logical conclusion, but it's not entirely accurate. You see, the human body is a marvelously complex machine designed to multitask effectively. While it's true that during strenuous exercise, the body does divert some blood away from the digestive system to the muscles, it doesn't completely abandon digestion. There's no switch to flick that halts digestion and reroutes all the blood to your muscles. Your body is more like an orchestra, with various sections playing together harmoniously, rather than a series of on and off switches. So, does this mean swimming after eating will cause cramps? Not exactly, but we'll dive deeper into the real causes of swimming-induced cramps in the next segment, just so you're not left treading water. Now let's bust this myth wide open. It's time to dive into the deep end of the pool and find the truth. The widespread belief that you need to wait an hour after eating before swimming to avoid cramps is in fact a myth. Yes, you heard it right. The real culprits behind those pesky cramps are exertion and dehydration. If you're swimming vigorously or for extended periods, your muscles may cramp up due to fatigue, and if you're not adequately hydrated, your muscle cells can't function properly, leading to cramps. But what about the food? Well, it's not completely off the hook. Eating a massive meal and then jumping into the pool might not be the best idea. Your body diverts blood to your digestive system after a meal, leaving less for your muscles. This could potentially lead to discomfort or even mild cramping, especially if you're swimming strenuously. But there's no scientific evidence that this poses a significant risk or that it necessitates a full hour of waiting. Experts agree. According to Dr. James Winger, a sports medicine specialist, there's no reason to wait to swim after eating. He adds, swimming on a full stomach may be uncomfortable, but it doesn't increase the risk of cramps. Similarly, the American Red Cross, a leading authority on water safety, states that there's no set time to wait after eating before you can safely swim. Their advice? Use common sense. If you're feeling overly full or uncomfortable, maybe give your body a little time to digest before hitting the water. So the next time someone tells you to wait an hour after eating before you swim, you can confidently dispel the myth. The real key to avoiding cramps is staying hydrated and pacing yourself in the water. So it seems the myth doesn't hold water, does it? If not eating, then what does cause cramps while swimming, you might ask? Well, let's dive right into it, shall we? Cramps, those painful involuntary muscle contractions, are the bane of athletes and swimmers alike. But contrary to popular belief, they're not caused by a belly full of sandwiches and soda. The real culprits are usually exertion and dehydration. Let's start with exertion. When you push your body to its limits, your muscles can rebel, leading to cramps. This is particularly true in swimming, where almost all your muscle groups are engaged. So if you're planning on channeling your inner Michael Phelps, remember to pace yourself. Warming up before you hit the water can also help prepare your muscles for the strains of swimming. Now on to dehydration. You know how your mum always told you to drink your water? Well, she was onto something. Dehydration can cause a chemical imbalance in your body, leading to muscle cramps. This might seem counterintuitive. You're surrounded by water when you swim, right? But remember, it's the water inside you that counts. So how can you avoid these issues? First, warm up before you jump in. Stretch those muscles, do a few jumping jacks, get your body ready for action. And second, stay hydrated. Carry a water bottle with you and take sips regularly. Just because you're in the water doesn't mean you can't get dehydrated. Also, listen to your body. If you're feeling tired, give yourself a break. If you're thirsty, drink some water. Your body knows what it needs, and it's your job to listen. And a quick note on food. While you don't need to wait an hour after eating to swim, it's still a good idea to avoid swimming on a completely full stomach. Your body needs energy to digest food, and it can get a little cranky if you demand too much of it at once. So, the next time someone tells you not to swim after eating, you can set them straight. And remember, cramps are just your body's way of saying, hey, slow down or hydrate. So listen up and happy swimming. Let's recap what we've learned today. We've delved into the deep waters of a common myth that has been floating around for quite some time. You've probably heard it from your parents, your friends, and even from some websites. Wait an hour after eating before you swim, or you'll get cramps. Well, we've plunged headfirst into the science behind it, and it turns out this claim doesn't hold water. We've discovered that digestion and swimming aren't quite the nemesis pair they're made out to be. Sure, swimming with a belly full to the brim might not be the most comfortable experience, but it's not likely to give you cramps. The real culprits behind those pesky muscle pains are often exertion and dehydration. In fact, your body is quite capable of multitasking. It can digest your lunch while you're doing your laps. The key is moderation. A light snack or meal before you dive in? No problem, just remember to hydrate and pace yourself. Swimming is an exercise after all, and like any exercise, it requires proper fuel and care. This myth, like many we encounter, was probably born out of a nugget of truth. Overeating and then engaging in strenuous activity can indeed lead to discomfort. But the solution isn't as rigid as a 1-hour waiting period. It's more about listening to your body and understanding its needs. We've also learned the importance of critical thinking and fact-checking. Myths may be fascinating, but they can also be misleading. So before you accept a claim, take a moment to dive beneath the surface. You might be surprised at what you find. And that's another myth sunk. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Mythbuster Chronicles. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, the truth often swims beneath the surface.